Minnesota's significant budget surplus has allowed lawmakers to bolster support for veterans. Joining me to talk about the investments for veterans and military agencies and programs is the chief sponsor of the bill in the Senate and the vice chair of the State and Local Government and Veterans Committee, Senator Nicole Mitchell. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
This budget area received an additional $128 million from the budget surplus, the largest increase in Minnesota history. What message is the legislature sending to Minnesota's service members?
It's sending a very clear message that we care about our current military members, and we also care about taking care of you once you are retired and in a veteran status, that we want to take care of the whole person because it includes initiatives, mental health, homelessness, care of our veterans, things that will help current enlistees with fitness and also kind of that holistic person. So we just wanted to send a clear signal that everyone on board, because this has been a true bipartisan issue, loves that investment and cares about the people that have served our country.
New veterans homes in Bemidji, Montevideo, and Preston are scheduled to open this year. How will this, current budget investment help both these new facilities and the facilities that currently already exist?
So we want to make sure everything's on track. So we have the funding for the new facilities. We have some language in there to make sure that the rates and everything are correct. We want to also be able to retain good staff with how we treat the people that are going to work at the homes. And in terms of the current facilities, also Hastings, for example, there's some money, not just in the veterans budget, but also some bonding money that we're going to upgrade some of the facilities and make sure that they continue into the future to be good places for our veterans to call home.
So just on the Hastings bit there, earlier in the legislative session, staff and residents spoke with the committee about some of the conditions at Hastings. What were some of their concerns? And you've sort of addressed how they're going to be aided with this budget, but can you just expand a little bit on that?
Sure. So some of the budgetary aid is just upgrading the facilities. For example, we have units where people have shared bath. And we want to make sure that, especially, when we had dealt with COVID just a couple of years ago, sometimes having that sort of a shared facility isn't great when you're talking about health needs. So just making sure, and that was for some of our people that had addiction and different types of care. This wasn't the retirement homes, but just making sure that we're keeping our facilities as safe as possible and as upgraded as possible. So that's one thing budgetarily that we're doing. In terms of the staff, making sure that the leadership is the appropriate leadership going forward. We do have money for a facility survey in Hastings, and we also want to look at the facility in Minneapolis just to make sure that staff are being treated with equity, properly trained, things of that nature. We haven't seen a lot of problems where it's impacting patient care, so that's wonderful, but happy staff, well-trained staff will ensure that that also continues. So we want to make sure all of those issues are properly addressed.
There's been an ongoing effort to end homelessness among veterans, and I think I saw basically it's a net zero going forward with what this budget will put in place. Tackling the problem involves not just stable housing, but also mental health care, addiction care, and even job training. So how does this budget tackle those issues to really eliminate homelessness among veterans?
Yes, so as I said, we already have some of the domiciliary care, and that will help people. That's already ongoing, helping people with addiction and different issues where they have kind of a supervised space where they can work on those issues. We're also buying some facilities that will be new veteran housing so that there is a place for people to go and find that housing and find that community. We're doing, for the mental health side of it, a couple places where people can go for retreats and have that camaraderie. I have a provision that I carried in addition to the whole bill that is an expansion of Meals on Wheels for veterans that are not already served, so that they will get home visits. We're trying to recruit veterans to be the people that also serve those wheels so they can have that contact, kind of a mental health check, and someone that can maybe direct them to other services if they're in need of that. So there's kind of a holistic approach to different types of things that can either keep veterans in their current housing or find them new, stable housing, whether that's supported or not.
There's money for enlistment bonuses. As a current member of the National Guard, what is your pitch to people who are interested in military service? And are these enlistment bonuses enough to get recruitment levels up where they need to be?
So, I got in originally because it was a way to pay for college, and I'm a third generation now military member, so I got the speech from my parents as well. But I clearly stayed in long after college. So not only do we have things like enlistment bonuses that help people with more money in their pocket, we have wonderful provisions for people to be able to go to school, have a lot of that paid for. We did increase some of our GI benefits, which also helps pay for school. The military medical is fabulous. So I know people that, for example, own their own small businesses and will stay in the military, both that sense of service, but also because then they have their medical needs met at very low cost. So there are a lot of things available for people that decide to join the military, and being able to expand the bonuses and some of the other programs like health and wellness. We have a big field house we're building that will be a new fitness center, programs like that. So kind of keeping people in and making them know that they're appreciated.
Full funding for a new facility for the Minnesota Military and Veterans Museum Veterans Museum at Camp Ripley has been achieved thanks to this bill. And I will confess that I did not know that this museum even existed until now. Generally speaking, why is it important that we have spaces that are dedicated to telling the stories of our service members?
So we have a current space at Camp Ripley, but it's harder to access and a lot of people don't know about it. So this will be a big new facility. And I think there's so many fabulous stories. They were just showing me a couple weeks ago of someone who ended up being a major head of government for the whole United States that had started here in Minnesota, and they were showing me that Purple Heart that the family had brought home for the museum. I believe there's going to be a section telling female veteran stories, some of our Hmong community and their involvement in Vietnam, for example. So I think having that sense of history is a really wonderful way to honor all the different contributions in the military, sometimes that people don't think about, and also for veterans to go and kind of see their stories and see a little bit of what they have brought to the table.
Last year, Minnesota veterans who served following the 9/11 attacks received service bonuses. Now the bonuses are going to be extended to include people who now reside in Minnesota but were not Minnesota residents when they entered the service. Why is it important to include them also in the bonuses?
Because they've just chosen to make Minnesota their home, and they served our country. So of course they should be included. We also expanded a couple of the conflicts that qualify for that, trying to include more people, because we want that sense of, we know you served your country. I, for example, in my career have served in the Minnesota Guard, the Wisconsin Guard, and the Air Force Reserve for quite a while. And even though I happened to enter in Minnesota, if I had grown up somewhere else, I could have done a lot of my career in Minnesota, active duty, or somewhere else, and ended up in Minnesota. If you've decided to make Minnesota your home and you've served our country, we want to make sure that you've been honored in that way. So we've added a large chunk to the bonuses, and if that chunk runs out, we've committed to add more to that.
Senator Nicole Mitchell, thank you so much for your time today, and welcome to the Senate.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.